I don't even know, honestly, where to begin with this. I have no notes. I am going strictly off the dome. Just gonna let it all kind of come out. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. If you know me, we don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but we'll see what happens. What I do know is that I'm not taking my glasses off this episode because it just hurts really bad. And yeah, I probably just need a better setup where I'm not directly in front of the sun and there's like a reflection, but also I have blue light glasses. So no matter what I do or where I end up, there's going to be a reflection because the blue light on these suckers, strong, tint everywhere, really affected a recent art museum experience. But anyway, welcome to the Simply Jamilah podcast. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jamilah, and if you're not new here, my name hasn't changed. I don't want to go through the legal process if I'm not getting married, so therefore, I'm still Jamilah. I hope you are doing well. I'm doing so much better now, and I'm just ready to just chat and just ramble and kind of just let a lot of things off my chest that I think I've just been harboring this entire month. So yeah, I'm happy you're here and I hope we have a good time. I will say I have not eaten breakfast because I did not want to eat eggs again, but I also have like no other options for breakfast. So if you hear a noise, it's my stomach screaming at me, okay? Normally at this time I would have a weekly win. I genuinely have nothing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm just like out of the news cycle or what, but actually, you know what? I'm not out of the news cycle. My news feed and all I've been seeing is genuinely just justice for Nolan Wells and his family. And yeah, period. I watched where they, I guess, showed the results of the autopsy, and I believe it's the one that Colin Kaepernick paid for, and the results were still like inconclusive as far as like cause of death. But then also there was a whole body part missing. Okay, hello, evidence, literally evidence. And then yesterday I was on my phone and I saw where someone, an audio engineer, a black woman, go off queen, had basically, not manipulated is not the right word, but she did something with the audio of a phone call that basically shows, and it literally says, hey, these are murderers, like get them. Like it is showing the guilt. It is literally proving that he was killed and not just like accidentally drowned or whatever. So I need somebody to do something, please. That has been my news feed. Therefore, I don't have a weekly win. I can't wait for the day. Like, very seriously, I cannot wait for the day that one of my weekly wins is that a black person finally receives the justice that they deserve. I don't want them to die for that to happen, but I just feel like we need a win. As a race, culture, ethnicity, we need a freaking win. And I truly hope that justice happens with Nolan Wells, but I'm also not stupid. And again, I said it last week that history it's not as far away as we think. And we're still dealing, no offense, with Mississippi. And the racism is still there. It's still strong. Not just in Mississippi, in the entire country, but I'm just saying it's still there and it's still strong. So I don't want another like Trayvon Martin situation where George, I forgot his last name, gets off scot-free. I don't want that. But like many people are saying, have it be a reverse situation and it's a white guy surrounded by a bunch of black friends and the white guy ends up dead. I mean, we would have already figured out the cause of death, had them booked and busy up in jail in like 3 days. And yet it's been almost a month. So that's my spiel as far as why I don't have a weekly win. So we're just going to get straight into what this episode is all about. When I say space, I do not mean NASA. I don't mean Project Hail Mary, Interstellar, none of that. I don't mean that. I mean space in like a different realm, in a mental health realm. I really truly am trying to figure out how to explain it. I was going to therapy every week during the school year because A, she was attached to the school, and then B, it was helping me just simply get through the school year. So I had been going to therapy weekly for honestly since I started in the library at that high school. So it's been a solid 2 years, maybe a little less than 2 years, but it's been a while. And it helped me get through it. And over those almost 2 years, I've really grown a lot and we're doing better. We talked about dating, and she was like, I think you're at a point now where you can. She was like, at first, when you initially started, I didn't think you could, but she was like, now I think you can. So, like, honored, great, glad I got her blessing to start dating. With that being said, because I am leaving that school and I am just honestly a lot better than I was, I have been going to therapy every other week. Do I think I probably should have switched that up in July because of just how it started? Yes. But we had a little bit longer sessions too, so that helped a lot. And at the beginning of July, it was the 4th of July, right? And I just had this gut feeling that everyone was not necessarily celebrating, because everyone I know, we're not celebrating America. Frick that. I mean, hello, Nolan Wells. We're not celebrating. But I just had this feeling that it was very much so. I forgot who wrote the book, but it was like everyone's hanging out without me. It might have been Mindy Kaling. It sounds like a Mindy Kaling title. But that's genuinely, it was just like a gut feeling that I had on the 4th of July. And I later was proven correct that people had hung out without me. And it not necessarily hurt. Well, I mean, I guess it did hurt my feelings. Yeah, I mean, now that I'm like thinking about it, it hurt my feelings. I am knowingly in a place without my family. And there's this time where, lots of food is being cooked and, you just come together with your community, not to celebrate America, but just to come together, have an excuse to be together and just hang out. And I wasn't invited. And it shouldn't be something that like bothers me. It really, I kept trying to tell myself like, it shouldn't bother you, it shouldn't bother you, it shouldn't bother you. But I think what really got me with it is like, and I feel like I might have talked about this briefly in a podcast episode before, that like I called my grandparents around that time, and they cooked for they cooked for our family in Tennessee. And like my sister wanted ribs, they cooked ribs. They cooked everything that everyone was going to eat, and if they didn't eat it, it was going to be taken home. Like they knew the vibe, and they just all, I don't know, they hung out. And so in that moment, I missed my family, not enough to hop in my car and drive 9 hours, because it's hard. So I was like, okay, wow. I hadn't really felt homesick, and I hadn't felt lonely since moving away from Raleigh. So it's been like 3 years since I've felt lonely. But on the 4th of July weekend, I felt it. I absolutely felt it. And then I started to feel isolated. Really, I felt very isolated, and that was a word I couldn't put a name to it until my therapist said it, and then I was like, that's exactly like what it is. And she also validated something that I had been feeling, which is that in specific relationships, I am simply communicated with or hung out with for convenience purposes, not because they actually like want to be around me or enjoy my company. And I mean, it's not fine. It's definitely not fine. It needs to be addressed. But also, I'm not someone who needs to have a ton of friends. Yes, I am an extrovert. I will talk to anything that walks. But that doesn't mean that we are instantly besties and I need you in my life forever or anything like that. I can count on one hand the number of true, genuine, good, great, best, close friends that I have. Everyone else, I mean, I'm chit-chatting with you. The parents at the summer camp, the kids at the summer camp, the coworkers at the summer camp, the coworkers in school. That one lady that I just like accidentally straight up walked into at Walmart. I don't even know how it happened. I don't know if my glasses temporarily turned off or what, but I just smacked right into her. But then we had a cute little conversation about what we were both wearing. That doesn't mean I'm best friends with her. Don't even know her name. The strangers who gave me a ride home after I got soaked watching Lilo and Stitch. Like, I talk to people all the time, but that doesn't mean that we're close friends. But there's certain relationships where it's like, yeah, we're friends, blah, 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 but we're only friends when it's convenient for you. And then what's even crazier with that, and this is something that after we kind of put a name to what was happening at the beginning of the month, I got home and I thought, okay, so we're friends when it's convenient for you, but you have the audacity to get upset because I can't be there for you or answer your call or answer your text when it's inconvenient for me. Does that make sense? So it's very like one-sided in that regard. It's annoying. It's frustrating, and it's something that I had to just kind of like sit back, and honestly, I'm still figuring out how do I like address this in this relationship and in multiple relationships, and it just hurt my feelings, to be honest. I was in a state of just complete sorrow. So there was that part of it. It's the convenience for friendships, but then there's the other part of like I talk a lot. I do. Again, extrovert. I talk a lot, but I also do my best to listen. I do. And something we talked about in the latter half of the month that I sat there and I was just like irritated. Like I spent I spent a good portion of the session irritated. We talked about other things, but this I really had to just like voice because I needed to get it off my chest in a safe space. And that 100% was my therapist's office. And now that I got it out there, I feel like I can talk about it here without being super, super irritated, like raising my voice. And, I talk with my hands sometimes and all of the things. I'm in a calmer place to discuss it. But another thing that really just like messed with my mental health, and it just bothered me, and it again hurt my feelings, is there's other relationships. And when I'm talking about these relationships, I'm not talking about like people that I've known forever that, are in Tennessee, or, well, one friend lives in North Carolina now, but it's not those relationships. It's the ones that are immediately around me. I mean, like truly, I think I was going to explode. I thought I was going to explode. You cannot get upset with me because you do not know what's going on in my life if you don't give me the chance to speak. Okay? There are a couple of relationships when it's my fault that they don't know what's going on in my life, and we haven't talked in a while. Now, we haven't talked in a while is my fault, and I will fully take blame for it. But I don't want to sit and be in the presence of someone when it feels like they're pretending to care. So there's people who will talk for 5-10 minutes and then ask me how I'm doing and be like, oh, I haven't, we don't know what's going on, that I haven't heard from you a while, And I'm like, oh, okay. In my head, I'm like, great. Like this is my chance. And then I get maybe a sentence and a half out. Not even like a full 2 sentences. I'll get like a sentence and a half out, and I'm being interrupted, not with more questions or inquiry about what I said, but I'm being interrupted so that way these people can talk about themselves more. I can't. I can't. And then, or not even and then, but like kind of in the same neighborhood, I'm fighting for my life in July. I'm fighting for my life. And I get random text messages about the problems in the other person's life. And I hate that. I do. I hate it for you. But also, you didn't ask me how I was doing. You didn't say, hey. You just, a long text about what's going on in your life at the most inconvenient time. I'm literally working summer camp. And but that's the most recent instance, but it happens so frequently. And I straight up just didn't respond. I did not respond. So where the word space comes in with this is that to not freaking explode, I took some space in July. And I had to, for the sake of my emotional and mental health. I needed space from people. And it's not just for the month of July. I genuinely think that this space is going to be for a while. I do. Because I can't operate like this. This is not a friendship. That's not a friendship. I'm sorry. And I do know, and I think about this all the time, I'm kind of getting teary-eyed right now. It's kind of crazy, but I feel like I do need to be a better friend to my friends. But that these are my friends, as in people who have always been there for me throughout my life, you know? And I know that, like, you don't need to have, you don't need to, like, what am I trying to say? You don't have to, like, know someone for, like, a lengthy period of time for them to be considered a best friend or anything like that. But from what life has shown me and proven me is that the best people are the people that have known me for years. So, and those are the friendships that I really need to, like, I feel like I just need to do better with, but sometimes I also have to remember that we are adults. I'm in a different time zone than some of them, but then also they just have lives and partners. They are not single anymore, and I have to be considerate of that. They may have fur babies or a fur baby or an actual baby. I need to be reminded. I need to remember that, basically. We're all almost 30, and so we are growing up. It was fun when we were young, but we're growing up. And I have to remember that, yes, we are growing up, but I also, like, they are my friends. I can get a random text from them and it'll be a text and a question. I don't know. We've just figured out how to communicate and it not be offensive. I think part of it, what I've learned in the space that I have taken from some of these relationships, is that I don't think we know each other well enough yet for them to understand how I communicate, for them to understand what I value as far as being able to take care of my mental and emotional health. But I can't keep, it almost feels like, and my therapist even said it feels like oftentimes I'm being taken advantage of. It really truly does. And I spent my entire childhood like that. And I hated it. Truly disliked it. I don't want to subject myself to even more of that. I don't. And I have worked so hard over the years between various therapists to not put myself back in those situations. And yet somehow I have, with where I worked and just where I'm currently at community wise, I have somehow put myself back in that place, in that position. And I don't like it. I don't want to be here. I don't like being taken advantage of. I don't like feeling like, I don't know, I don't like the push and pull of, like, yes, you're family, we're friends forever, da da da. And then the forgotten in the moments when family is kind of needed most. But then I'm remembered when it's like favors are needed consistently, or when no one else will listen, and so they just need someone to, like, listen or interact with, and it just so happens to be me. I'm not listening. I'm not. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. At first, it takes some building to get to this point. It really truly does. And I think, and that's not okay, I want to say, to just let it happen for so long and so often that I finally get to a point where I literally break. But it builds. I don't know how to say in the beginning, like, hey, this is the way that I operate. And this is the way that this is what I need from a friendship. I don't know how to do that, because I don't know if we just didn't say anything, like me and my friends that I have now, the long-term ones that I've talked about. I don't know if we didn't say anything, or it's just kind of the way the relationship developed, but it was never a, like, sit down conversation that needed to be had. It was just kind of the way things have flowed and what we grew into. I don't know what happened there. I'm grateful. Super, super grateful. But I've never had to sit down and be like, hey, this is not okay. And I definitely should have said something way sooner. And instead, I let myself just fall. And I did everything I could to not explode. And honestly, if I'm being very real, we're nearing the end of July very rapidly. Literally tomorrow is July 31st. And I'm still trying to not explode on certain relationships. I know that, like, the person whose text I ignored, at some point, some conversation has to be had. And I know that, like, there's other person who I just actively, I don't call. I've been not really answering her calls. I've just kind of been sending them a voicemail, and I'll shoot her a quick text. And like, I did finally call her back, and then she wanted to talk about what was going on. And I could not figure out a way to be like, hey, you're the problem. I couldn't figure it out. And so I just kept saying, I don't want to talk about it. And then it just still, you're trying to drag out a conversation that doesn't need to be had and that I don't want to have. And you're almost, it took a lot of like, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to talk about it for it to be respected that I don't want to talk about it. And I shouldn't have to almost beg to not have a conversation about what's going on with me mentally for you to understand that I don't want to talk about it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I know that at some point those conversations or whatever need to be had, but I'm just still not in the place where I'm ready to talk about it. But I am feeling like myself again, and I'm feeling not so lonely, not so isolated. And honestly, truly, I have been feeling like a punching bag. That is the best way to explain it. And I felt like it in a different way, obviously, with like the work situation that happened over the years. But now it feels like it's in a different sense. I'm there hanging out in my lonesome in the gym, not surrounded by anybody else, not surrounded by any other punching bags. And then suddenly you're like, ooh, I need a good workout in. And so you show up to the gym and you just start hitting the punching bag again and just wearing it down. Just wearing it down. That feels like me with a lot of the relationships in the community that I built. So July was rough. And what was even worse is that I knew that I couldn't, I mean, yes, again, have those long-term friends that I definitely could have talked to about it, but I was trying to figure out how to put things into words. But then also I had still committed to certain things around people here, but I learned in those, showing up to these things that I committed to, I learned that I can't talk to them about my mental health at all. I'll say something like, yeah, I spent the whole day crying, and it just gets like, oh, you good? Yeah, I'm fine. I'll say something that kind of hints at like, I want to have this conversation about my mental health. I kind of want you to show up for me. But the hint is never, I don't know if gotten is the right word, captured, caught, whatever the case may be, but it kind of gets brushed over and the conversation continues to go back to whatever they were saying. And so I don't want to have surface level relationships in the community that I live in, but it almost feels like I am going to have to. I hate that. And that's something else that I'm really trying to work through mentally. I want to be able to talk about what is bothering me without it being brushed off, but I've learned that I can't do that. I will say I'm very excited and I'm looking forward to, there's a couple of friendships that are developing. I am going to a like paint and sip situation on Friday night. Actually, I need to text her because if we don't buy these tickets today, then nobody's going to anything. But in my head, whenever I'm done recording this and I text her, we are going to a paint and sip situation Friday night and we're going to paint our dogs. And I just have this feeling with her that relationship is going to be one where I will eventually be able to talk about my mental health. But I also feel like, I don't know, I need to be cautious because something that I've learned it's something that I remember it's kind of the reason that a friendship ended when I was in college is that people talk. And even if it's not their story to share and it's not their business to share, they are still going to share it. And that is kind of, I've been doing a little bit better with it. One instance happened recently where I was just like, okay, please stop telling people this specific thing. But I mean, over the years, I've definitely, since that relationship in college ended, I have learned like to just kind of chill out with what I tell people. It's mostly surface level stuff. It really truly is. But I don't want to keep having surface level relationships, but I'm more cautious going into newer developing friendships. I am really excited, and I've hung out with the girl that I'm going out with on Friday. I've hung out with her before, and I'm excited about doing it Friday, but I'm going to just remain cautious because I don't want to keep getting hurt. At the end of the day, I don't want to keep getting hurt. I don't want to keep battling depressive episodes, because when I go back to the punching bag feeling, it just takes me back to my childhood. The thing that I have been working to overcome as an adult and the treatment that I experienced as a child, it like manifests itself in a different way as an adult with these relationships, and it's so challenging. And I don't want to keep going back. I don't want to keep going back. And I know that I have time and like a life to live in theory, because I am only 27, but also so many people have lost their lives. And I want to be able to like live life and enjoy it. So I'm doing as much healing as I possibly can, but it's hard to move forward when I am surrounded by people who are pushing me back. But I also have yet to figure out how to have these conversations of like, you are not okay for me. You're not okay for me at all. And what makes it even worse is that most of these people that I'm having problems with are older, like maybe twice my age. So, if not three times my age, like they are older than me. And so there's this like, how do I say this and have this conversation without it being like disrespectful? Because I have learned it is so easy. Again, it kind of goes back to the phone calls of like in the text about themselves. It is so easy for them to get offended and then hop on the defense and feel disrespected. And it's like, no, I just simply want to talk about what I am feeling and what I'm experiencing and the problems. But I can't do that if you are sitting in a defensive position and, trying to say things like, oh, am I to blame for this? Da 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 da. And then make me feel or appear to be, I don't know, the bad person here. But I'm just simply I'm trying to take care of myself at the end of the day. I'm trying to take care of myself, my mental health, my peace. And I can't do that if these are the relationships that I am being surrounded by. I just wanted to talk about kind of what I was experiencing in July that had me saying at the beginning of almost every episode this month that my mental health was rough. This was it. This was truly it. And I don't know what it says about me that my mental health and my emotional health are affected by other people, but it's also like, if these people are quote unquote my support system, especially with being in my immediate vicinity, my support system is crumbling. My support system is not real at the end of the day. So it's been a challenge. But it feels really good to like calmly talk about it, because throughout the month I thought I was going to explode. And there's still irritations that happen that, try me, but I keep my peace to the best of my ability, and I stay as calm as I possibly can, so that way nothing, makes me want to explode. I don't know how else to say it. Because I feel like, here's my thing. And this is something, as a child, I was silent with my mother. I never said anything. I never said what was wrong because of fear and different repercussions that we experienced as children if we said what was wrong, but she didn't like what she heard. So I have always kind of struggled with keeping it in. And I was doing decently well because I was, either seeing my therapist every week, I've been journaling, or I just had people that I could talk to and I could trust. And maybe it's the fact that we just haven't had book club in a minute. Maybe I need book club. I don't know what it is. This month I went back into that habit of just holding it in. And that's what I say when I'm like gonna explode. I'm going to just, everything that I have held in from these relationships, I don't want it to just come out and scream and just And some people would probably encourage that as a way of having that necessary conversation. I don't want to do that, because I promise you I'm not like an angry person, at least on the surface. I've worked through a lot of anger over the years, but a lot of the anger that I've worked through has been the result of hurt. I'm better than I was. I definitely am better than I was. And I don't want people to think I'm an angry person. I'm a sarcastic person. I'm doing my best to be a more positive person. I would like to say I'm happy. I genuinely think I'm happy. I mean, what do I have to be unhappy about? I well, that was not the right question because I kind of just spent a good portion of this episode talking about it. But at the end of the day, clothes on my back, some version of food in my fridge, a dog who is slowly but surely healing. Thank goodness. Her skin is getting better. Got a roof over my head. I can semi pay my bills. Like at the moment, we're August is coming, baby. We're gonna be back up. We're gonna be back up. But it's like at the end of the day, I'm just happy to have the bare minimum, right? But I think it's when there's that promise from other people of better and support and love, but it doesn't actually show up. That's when it becomes what it has festered into over the month of July. And really at the end of the day, it all comes down to that promise and that hope from these relationships. It comes down to that turning into disappointment. The promise turns into disappointment. And I hate disappointment. I have lived with it my entire childhood. I have worked so hard to try to get rid of it. And to still experience it, it is so frustrating and annoying and irritating. And I hate it. I genuinely hate it. But here I am, still feeling it. And I think that's the other thing, especially at the beginning of the month when it was like isolating. It was like, no, not only was it isolating, I was battling being disappointed again. Again. I'm so tired of it. I can't even explain to you how tired I am of being disappointed. And what's crazy is that okay, cool. We have the go ahead to like start dating, or we think that I'm in a good place to start dating, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, oh goodness. I have been, I've been on dates and things, and so that's fine. That's a different kind of disappointment. That is a manageable disappointment. Like truly, we broke up. Oh no. Like, okay, fine. It happens. I have so many breakup songs that I consider bangers that I know will help me get through the fact that we broke up and I'm supposed to be sad about it. Like, I'm locked and loaded there. We're good, babes. But it's the disappointment of the people who are supposed to be your friends and are supposed to be, again, that support system. It's like, no, this foundation is not strong at all. The foundation it's not even concrete, babe. It's not even concrete. That's how bad it has become. Honestly, that's how bad I feel like it's become. But the crazy thing is, like, again, I don't really know how to talk about it for them to realize that it has come to that. And I also don't want them to feel like, I don't know. I feel bad because I have only been here about 3 years. I myself need to remember that it hasn't been that long and they are not my family. No one around me, as much as I love them, but the relationships in my immediate vicinity, and I've said it before, they're not my family. And so therefore I have to remember I've only been here 3 years. I can't keep having these expectations. I genuinely can't keep having these expectations. And yet for some reason, I think it's that hope and that promise of I'll be there where that expectation comes in. But I need to stop. I need to stop letting it fester, I guess is the right word, because there's no actual promise. I don't It sounds so bad, but if I remove the expectation, I remove the disappointment. And it's something that I thought about for a long time and I was doing pretty good with it, but for some reason, I think as I was like going through kind of just the hardships recently, I was like, okay, this is going to be great. The expectations there, they're not going to let me down. What was I thinking? What genuinely was I thinking? I don't know. I don't know if I need to I don't want to say move again, because obviously moving again, it's not going to do anything. But at the same time, it's not going to do anything. So it's not going to do anything in the sense that like, oh, I'm going to move and immediately find like a really great community and I'm going to like never feel this again, like da 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 da. But also, if I move again, I'm going to be okay, because I still don't feel established here, and I feel like a ghost, like in a way, like I'm here technically, but no one's actually seeing me, and no one's actually understanding me, and no one's actually like, I don't know, they care out of convenience, but they don't actually care. So I'm just a ghost chilling. And if they want to act like they care, they'll ask about Clover, my dog. But what's crazy is that there is more to me than my dog. Asking me how Clover's doing, babe, I don't know. She's a dog. There's not much going on up there. There's not much going on up in Clover's brain. I'm not going to lie to you. So I don't know what you want me to say. I think that's everything I have to say. I just wanted to talk about like my mental health at the moment. Again, I'm saying it a lot more calmer because I'm doing a lot better as far as just like kind of coping with it and just moving about life. I'm literally taking myself on a cutesy little date today to go see the Odyssey and go get my coffee. I'm very excited to just hang out with myself. I'm going to see if there's trivia happening tonight. If there is, I'm going to go to that. I've been cuddling Clover this morning. Like we're vibing. The vibe is up. And so doing these little things for myself has helped tremendously with just coping with where I'm at mentally. And not just coping, but it's just helped me remember that I am a good person. Because at the end of the day, I'm more than a punching bag. I'm like brand spanking new, top of the line. You can't knock me down. You can hit me all you want, but you cannot knock me down. Muhammad Ali can't even knock me down, babe. No offense, rest to the king. Okay, anyway. That's everything that I had to say on mental health, but I do have more that I want to say on what I have consumed recently. I talked about it a little bit last week, how I was switching between Pop Culture Jeopardy and The Hunting Wives. I finished The Hunting Wives. I'm not going to watch season 2. I knew from the beginning that I just had a feeling that the person who did it had done it. So the ending wasn't really like a shock or anything. But then the actual ending was like, everyone's just crazy and annoying. At the end of the day, everyone is crazy and annoying and cheating. And that's it. Not watching season 2. Very much so. Done. We are done. We are over it. I recently watched Heartstopper Forever. I have to like say that super slow or else I'll just like blah, 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 blah. And anyway, I mean, in theory, I liked it because it's Heartstopper, but at the same time, I don't know. Like, I understand they're growing up. You gotta end the story. We could have ended the story like a little bit better, though. I'm not gonna hold you. Like, I was mildly upsetty spaghetti, disappointed with it. It wasn't the worst, obviously, but it was still just kind of like, guys, I don't know. Every Heartstopper season has me feeling some sort of emotion, and I didn't feel that at all with the movie. So that's what I'm going to say on that. But you know what does have me feeling things, and I love it to pieces? It is Jessie Reyes' album, A Little Vengeance. I love that album. She's number 2 on my list. First, Forever and Always, it's going to be This Music May Contain Hope by Ray. But next up is A Little Vengeance. That is a good album. So there's different songs that I just obsess over at different times in the day. Literally, not even in the month, in the day. And this morning, it's 99%. By afternoon, it's probably going to be Salt. There's so many songs on that album that I love. She ate that. And then I watched a small interview clip where apparently it was the first album she had done fully sober. And like, I know it was hard for her. I'm sure it was hard for her. She said in the interview, but babe, if this is what you make sober, I'm going to say keep it up. Because it's amazing. I'm really sad because either I missed a tour or she's simply just not going on tour for this album, and I kind of need to see it live. I kind of need to find someone next to me to scream 99% with. So if you want to change your mind about that tour, Jessie, just let me know. Give your girl a call. I'll be there. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. I am finishing up The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. It's very much a historical fiction. It's been a very interesting read. It's been a little tricky. It's been something. It's been something. I have to quite figure out what it's been, but I'll let you know when I do my Q3 reading wrap up because I love doing those podcast episodes. And this upcoming one is going to be full of all kinds of different genres, and I'm so excited. But this was needed. This felt good. And I have no regrets about doing this episode. So thank you for listening to me ramble with no notes about my mental health and my thoughts on Nolan Wells. I genuinely hate this for his parents. And what I hate even more is that his parents are being like verbally attacked. And why? Because they want to know what happened to their son. Because they know the way that most of America knows and believes. Because there's that random few in America who are like in denial. But like we all know that he was murdered. And so his parents want to know what happened. But you want to be mad at them. You want to talk bad about them? Be mad at them? What? Where does that make sense? I need a win when it comes to that. But anywho, what else I need? Food. Stomach just made all of the noises in the world. I'm about to go get this coffee, even though it's not actually food, but maybe she'll have these little Cuban sandwiches she was talking about the other day. I don't know. And if she doesn't, I'll get something at the theater when I watch The Odyssey. Very excited to watch it. I know it's a long movie, so I'm going to an early showing today so I can be out when the sun is still up. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Simply Jamilah podcast. I will be in your ear next week with a new one. Next week is the first week of August, and things are going to probably be shifting a little bit, but I'll definitely keep you updated just because I start back at school with my master's program, but then I also start at a new school with my job. So things are going to be changing a little bit. Me and Clover have been waking up at 6 a.m. this week. She's not happy about it. She's 9 times out of 10 asleep in my living room right now, but we got to get back to this week of things. We got to switch our routine up just the tiniest bit to accommodate waking up earlier to make it on time to work and all of that jazz. But anyway, I'm excited. I'm very excited about August. I'm excited to be done with the heat. I'm not going to hold you. I'm over it. I'm very quickly over it. But anyway, okay. I've talked long enough. I'll see you and talk to you super, super soon. Bye.